One.
Hello, everybody, and welcome again to another edition of the MakeCode Arcade Advanced stream. I'm Richard.
I'm Joey at JWonder on the forum.
I'm Shannon at Shakao on the forum.
And I'm Vivian. I love Triple on the forum.
And for today's stream, I was thinking about something that I saw a few times on the forum in recent weeks. And I thought we might do a game that kind of involves that, but I don't really have an idea specifically about what the game's going to be. But anyway, the question I saw a few times was how to make a tile map that scrolls automatically. So we have a notion of tile maps inside of Arcade. In fact, let me just kind of illustrate the problem. I'm going to go ahead and make a tile map with things in the background so that we can actually see it scrolling. And let me go ahead and create a sprite, make it the duck. And we will move. Okay, so because our world is bigger than the size of the screen, the duck can go off the screen. And so then the way we normally handle this is by making it so that inside of scene, there's a block that's called camera follow sprite. Let me drag that one out. And this will just make it so that the camera will always follow our sprite as we move around. The exception being when we're close to the edges of the screen, it won't go off to the kind of outside of the tile map. It'll always just box the view inside, if that makes sense. And so this works, but sometimes you want to tweak this behavior. For example, you might have like a platformer and maybe the player is jumping, but you don't want the tile map to be moving up and down while they're jumping. You only want it to move side to side along with them. Or you might be doing something like the classic ship levels in Super Mario Bros. 3, which were, it was basically a platformer level that the player would follow along with. And they are much hated by pretty much everybody. So that's the basic idea, and I'm going to show a few different ways to do it, and hopefully this will be useful for some people. The first one I'm going to do, though, is just kind of a trick that I was playing with earlier this morning, and it's basically I want to make a game that is a racing game where I can have these road tiles, but I want the road to be moving underneath my sprite. And so the idea is I'm going to create the sprite on top of the road. The entire tile map is going to scroll at a constant pace downwards as the player moves, and it's going to loop back onto itself once we get to a certain point. And hopefully it'll make a neat little effect. So let's try that.
You should add a landmark in by the side of the road.
Sure. So let's go into the miscellaneous and add some shrubs.
It could be like the shrubbiest shrub in America.
We could put the statue in. Is the statue at 6 by 6? I don't remember.
No, the statue's much bigger.
Yeah.
And we'll put a weird obelisk thingy. Is that good? Any more?
The Citadel.
All right, and let me go ahead and make these walls. Oh, whoops. One other thing to note real quick is that we are on beta today. So we've been using beta all this week. It's arcade.makecode.com/beta. If you want to use beta, make sure that you're aware that there are more bugs than the released version of the site. But it also has the new stuff that we haven't had a chance to ship yet. And we're going to be shipping soon. So us using beta today is just kind of a way for us to test our own stuff out before we give it to you guys. All right. So the first thing I'm noticing is that this is really bad looking. So I'm going to set the background color to match my ground tiles. So let's go ahead and do that with this tan. And that looks much better. All right, and instead of the duck, let's go ahead and change to the car. Anyone have a preference on color?
Pink car.
Pink car. We're the samurai in F-Zero. I forgot what his name is. He had a pink car with flames on it.
Oh.
All right. So I'm also going to get rid of this camera follow because we're not going to be using it. And I'm going to get rid of this move my sprite because we're not going to be using that either. We just want to have it kind of constantly move underneath the player. And I have an idea of how to do that. Hopefully it'll work. So let's go ahead and go into scene, and we're going to go into the camera category, and we're going to drag out this center camera block. So this is basically the same thing as the camera follow, except you can imagine that if I were to make this code, this is exactly the same, well, not quite, but almost exactly the same as using the camera follow. On every frame, center the camera on the X and Y of the sprite. This center camera thing will behave just like the one that you use when you do camera follow. So if my sprite were to go near the edges of the screen, it would not scroll beyond the tile map. And that's just to make sure that we don't ever get any, like black void going on over here. So I don't want it to be tied to the sprite though. So I'm just going to get rid of these for now. So I always want the camera to be centered in the X direction on this middle road. So to figure out where that is, I'm going to go to my tile map and see how big it is. So it's 16 by 16, but that center point is at, looks like 7 on the X. You can see it in the bottom left corner. So the Y value that we're going to want to use is going to be 7 times 16 plus 8. And let's see if I did that right.
You typed in 17 instead of 16?
Oh, yes. Good catch. All right, yeah, so it's centered. So the reason we're doing this is because our tiles are 16 pixels wide. So because we're at 7, it's going to be 7 tiles, so 7 times 16, plus half a tile, so that we're centered on the center line. So plus 8. And now for the Y, we're just going to make a variable, and it's going to be called camera position. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's call it camera Y position, just to be a little more specific.
Nice.
And I'm just going to put this variable right here inside of this center camera at. So right now this isn't doing anything. We want to make it so that it actually moves. So I'm just going to put in this change camera Y position by 1, and we should see something happen. Yeah, there we go. So now it moves down, gets stuck at the bottom. And this is also in the wrong direction, because if we're moving forward, the road should actually be going in the opposite direction. So there's a few things we want to do here. First, we want to make it loop, which I'm realizing now is not going to work with this shrubbery. So I'm going to get rid of the shrubbery that's kind of on the like leading edge. And maybe I'll just end up making the tile map bigger. But for now, let's do that. So we want to change the camera Y position by 1. But actually what we want to do is we want to center the camera not at the camera Y position, but maybe at like, I'm wondering actually what the best way to do this is. Do you have any ideas? We want this to go in the opposite direction.
So we don't have a tile map get like column count right now, do we?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I guess hard code the column count in and multiply by 16 and reverse it.
Yeah, okay, let's do that. So there are 16 tiles in our tile map, so 16 by 16 is equal to the height. And let's go ahead and use the modulo, so that's the remainder block, to make it so that it leaps back around. And if you've watched our stream before, you've probably seen us do this before. The modulo, or remainder, is just like the one that you learned in math. but it's a little, it has some interesting properties that make it really useful in computer science. And one of those is if you, whatever value you put into the second argument, so in this case, it's 16 by 16, if you go above that value, it'll wrap back around to the beginning, which is a nice way to make these kind of looping animations like what we're doing right now. So let me go ahead and put in the camera Y position in this first argument. We want to add 1, and let's see this.
So did we want to add 16 times 16 minus 1 to do your trick?
Yes, but
Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
Okay. I was trying to remember the trick.
Yeah, all right. So cool, now we're looping. But we have this not very nice property of we're not starting, there's like a bit of a dead zone at the start and bottom of the map. And that's because of that camera boxing behavior that I talked about before. So it'll never go beyond the edges of the tile map. So if we try to center the camera at, say, x equals this and y equals 16 by 16, it'll be centered above that because that's the edge of our tile map. Does that make sense? Does anyone have a better way of explaining that?
If you set the car's Y to that number, you'll see it moving.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So we're going to take our my sprite, which I'm going to go ahead and rename real quick so that I don't forget to, the pink car. And I want to set its Y to be equal to this camera Y position. And this will hopefully make it a little more obvious what's going on. So you can see it takes until it gets halfway through the screen for it to start moving. And then at the end here, it stops, but the car keeps moving. And if instead of doing this center camera at, I was instead to do the camera follow behavior. So let me go ahead and drag that back out again. We would see the exact same thing happen. Oh, whoops, change that to the pink car. So it stops for a bit, then starts moving, and then stops moving again. All right, cool. So like Joey kind of hinted at before, we want to make it so that, well, actually, first, let me go ahead and fix the X position of this pink car because it's getting caught up on these little obstacles, and I don't like that very much. So we're going to go ahead and set the X value for the pink car to be the same thing as what we calculated here. Cool. And I'm going to go ahead and make some variables for this. And they're going to be tile map height and tile map width. And this is just because I'm probably going to be using these in a few different places, and I don't want to have to recalculate them. And if I end up changing my tile map, it'll be a lot easier for me to change it if I just have to change it where I set these variables. So for tile map width, we're going to do 16 times 16. Same thing for tile map height, but it might change. So we'll just do this by now. Oh, whoops, I did a change.
That's fine.
Yes, it technically works, but not the best. I'll do the same thing for tile map height. And instead of this stuff I was doing before, now for the X, I'm just going to do this get tile map width divided by 2. And I'll do the same thing here. And now for here, I'm going to get rid of the 16 by 16. And we're going to do the tile map height. All right. So there's another fun trick that you can do with modulo to make it go in the opposite direction. And that is, if I try to do a subtraction here, we'll see this is not going to work correctly. See, it does not loop around. That's because the modulo does not work that way in JavaScript. It only works really the way that we're talking about if you use positive values. So to make that kind of, to get around to that, there's a fun trick, which is if you add the maximum value, so tile map height minus 1, it's the same thing as subtracting 1. And I could explain that if I had a way to draw it, but it's hard to kind of picture, so you're just going to have to trust me for now that this is going to work.
The way I think of that is that we're dividing what you get from the remainder is what you divide it out. So if you add the max, the tile map height, you're adding 0 inside of that. So you're just adding -1 that way by removing 1 after you've added 0.
Mm-hmm. Oh, one thing I'm realizing real quick is that our road is not perfectly centered. And I'm going to just get rid of this third one so that it is. We're just ignoring the law. We're just driving straight down the center.
You're already driving down the white dotted line if you're on the road, so we live on the edge here.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we've got kind of our little auto-scrolling thing going on. But now let's go ahead and make it so that we don't get this annoying boxing behavior on either side. And the way to do that is to just make it sure that we never go to half of the screen height in either direction. And I think that the easiest way to do that is to get the screen height first. So that's inside the scene category somewhere.
Yeah.
Here we go. Screen height. And what we want to do is instead of using tile map height here, we're actually going to use tile map height minus the screen height. And I'm going to assign this to a variable just to make it a little bit clearer what this code is doing. So I'm going to name this to be...
Wait, do you want to make a new variable? Oh.
Oh, yes, you're right. Good catch. Camera distance is equal to tile map height minus the screen height. And so let's get to how we kind of calculated this value. So we know that it gets stuck halfway between the tile map height, between the screen height and like 0. So it'll be boxed out between 0 and halfway to the screen height. And then the same thing in the opposite direction. So because it is half the screen height on either side, if we subtract the entire screen height, that means that's the maximum distance that our camera is going to travel. And yeah, I wish it was on a Windows computer so that I could just bring out Paint and draw this. Oh well, do that next time. All right, so let's go ahead and fix our code because it's broken now. I'm going to create a get camera distance, and I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to put that there. And so now our Y position is looping within these bounds. We're still going to get some weird behavior though, because we need to make sure that we are, we basically need to adjust our position by half of a screen height. And to do that, I'm going to grab out this math block, put the screen height over here, do a divided by 2, and I'm going to add it to this camera Y position. And I think this should do it.
I need to do it for the center too, right?
Yes. And probably best to put this up here. Cool. Well, it's not quite perfect. First, let me go ahead and get rid of the rest of the shrubbery. I'll add this back in. But for now, I want it to just be gone so that I can see where the looping is kind of going wrong. Okay. I think we're off by 8. Does that sound right?
That sounds possible. I can't visualize it in my head right away if it sounds right. There's a minor issue with it flashing, but that's an engine bug that I have a fix for in the PR. But yes, when it reaches the end, it'll disappear for 1 frame. That's fine.
Oh, really? Why is that?
It's the ordering of the events. I have a fix for it in common packages. The on-game update happens after the camera gets updated officially.
Oh, okay. All right. So I think what we need to do here is I didn't calculate this camera distance quite right. So the camera distance should be equal to the tile map height minus the screen height. And I think it should also be -8 or +8.
Could we maybe put a little, just a random tile at the beginning and end so we can visualize maybe a bit better exactly where
Sure.
it's going wrong?
It's working now, though. I was right.
Okay,
Looks
perfect. Never mind.
Cool. So yeah, we were 8 off. But by fixing that, now we have this kind of infinite scrolling background, which is pretty cool. Like Joey said, you can see a 1-frame glitch that happens when the loop happens.
Yeah, I forgot to use the fix for that yesterday, so I will make sure that.
Yeah, this is a MakeCode bug that will be fixed in the next release, but it looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and change our tile map, and we're going to add back in our decorations.
If you're glitching, you're like Penelope and
Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph, yeah.
All right, so let's make the height 32. That we're going to have to go change our values, but that's why I made those variables.
Yeah.
And let's go into miscellaneous and add some desert stuff.
So we're gonna have to be careful at the beginning and end, right? Because we'll want those to
Yeah.
match up for it to flicker.
Yes, Joey is correct. Let's go ahead and get rid of that,
Oh.
that. And we'll see how that works. Oh, and let me go ahead and fix this real quick. So now it's 32 high, so let's do that. Cool.
Looks
That
great.
worked. Yeah, that worked out, right?
Mhm.
All right. So now let's start doing some actual kind of gameplay type stuff. Does anyone have any ideas about what to do for the gameplay on this? I guess first things first, let's make it so we can move.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do move the pink car with VY0 and VX100. And this will make it so that now we can go left and right.
Can we do your
Vivian,
driving game that you were talking about the other day? But I want to hear
what?
Shannon's idea too. I was talking about the game you were saying where you were driving across the U.S. in real time and you're slightly left and right.
Oh, right, desert van.
But I want to hear Shannon's idea.
Oh, I don't have like a real game thing, but what if when you hit A, everything stopped and your sprite got out of the car and you were like exploring the world and then you could get back in your car and everything would start again?
I like that.
I do like that. It might make our camera looping logic a little difficult.
One thing I'm
Right,
curious about, we should just be able to add like 40 maybe to the sprite's Y so that it starts further back. So right? Because
Yeah, we could do
that. Won't have any issues, right? No, it should be fine.
that. Should be fine. So what Joey is saying is right now we're in the center of the screen, but we actually probably want it to be a little bit below. So let's go ahead and add 40, which is too much. No, that's right. Yeah, cool. So now our sprite is kind of in a better location. In fact, I'm going to make it 48.
Anyway, the
Cool.
reason for that is usually you want more room ahead of you so you can dodge stuff and stuff. But if, or you can decide where you're going to get out of the car better.
Cool. Okay, so I think I have some ideas, and I like both of the ideas that were suggested. But I want to make it a little camera focused for now. So what I think I'm going to do is variable camera speed. And then we can look into, I want to do the getting out of the car thing, because that'll be a good example of how to switch between different like camera modes, you know? All right. So first things first, let's go ahead and change the camera speed. So to do that, we are going to make a new variable, and we're going to call it camera speed. And we're going to set camera speed to 1 for now. And we should be able to just put it right here. And I think that should work.
Yeah.
Now, if I make this 2, it should go twice as fast.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Awesome.
200? Yeah. You probably can't go over
Lightning McQueen.
the height of the screen, I guess.
Yeah. Woo! All right. So let's make it maybe when you're holding. How about whenever you collide with something or overlap with something here, we turn the camera speed down and then it kind of just accelerates up. And then we'll do the. Well, you know what? Let's not worry about that for now. I think I'm just going to have the camera speed be 1, and I'm going to do what Shannon was talking about, which is being able to get out of the car. So I think we're going to create a variable, and it's going to be car is stopped. And we're going to set car is stopped to be false because you start out driving. And let's go ahead and bring out a controller button event. So on a button pressed, we're going to set car is stopped to be true. And the other thing we're going to do is I don't want to get rid of this camera, center camera at, or what I want to do, I think, is put this set camera Y position and set pink car Y inside of an if statement. That is, if car is not stopped, or if not car is stopped. Cool.
It's a one.
So now we can. All right, who should be getting out of our car?
Did you want to draw it or use a gallery sprite to match?
Hey, either way.
Gallery aesthetic.
Ooh, is this person's name Drive?
It's the drive. All right. Gonna give him a hat.
Okay, cool.
Obviously a cool character because they're wearing a hat.
Yep. That's what I always say.
I have hats.
Maybe a purple hat. I think purple's a cool color for a hat. Nice.
Very funky.
All right. They're cool, so their hat's gonna be sideways.
Wait, is this the Jacob? This person can pull off a pink car very well.
Absolutely.
I feel like cars need more interesting colors in general. Too many of them are normal colors.
Oh, really? And what's a normal color?
Black, maybe monochrome, like black, white, gray, boring colors.
It could be a mechanic where you have to look for like cans of gasoline or something to like keep your car going.
I like that.
Find stuff.
I don't like this red shirt. Orange?
Will that look good? Does that look good against tan? I can't remember. Orange works against tan.
Probably not. Pink?
Pink shirt.
Matching
pink
their car.
That's pretty good.
Cute.
I do really like the idea that this guy gets out of the car and he's just like significantly bigger than the car.
Good, because that's what it's going to be. We could get really fancy and give him a striped shirt.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, I love this.
I think this is the coolest character you've made.
I feel like it's a very 80s shirt.
All right, and can't smile. Too cool.
Aww.
And you're just going to have an open mouth.
Just always yelling.
Ugh. All right. This guy needs a name. Someone come up with it.
One pixel off. Coolio?
Blizzard.
We're not naming him Coolio.
Oh wait, that's a taken name. That's like a famous name. I forgot. Lizard's a pretty good name for cool guy. Cool character.
His name is Blizzard?
Lizard.
I said Blizzard, but I also like Blizzard, especially if he's driving through a desert.
Oh yeah.
He's bringing the cold to the desert.
Yeah.
Yes.
Naturally.
All right. So when Blizzard gets spawned, we want to put them by the side of the car. So we're going to set their position to be the same as the car's position. So we'll do this. We're going to grab the pink car. So we want it to be the pink car's Y, but the pink car's X plus, I don't know, 16?
Mm-hmm.
I think. Yeah, that should work. Let's go into math and do the 16. And we're doing that just because we don't want them to be overlapping with the car.
Nice.
Oh, there's Blizzard. And let's go ahead and do a move on. First, we need to turn off the move on the pink car. So we're going to set it to 0, 0. And we want to turn on the move for Blizzard. So do that.
Hey.
Cool. All right. So we want the camera to be following Blizzard as they walk around. So to do that, I don't want to change my camera logic because I've got this nice looping thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same center camera at, but I'm going to change the camera Y position to be matching where Blizzard is currently located. And I'm also going to have to do something to make it so that Blizzard loops back around. And this will be a fun little effect where you can just loop forever and your car will always be there when you loop back around. So to do that, I am going to press a plus on this, and I want to set the camera Y position in a different way for if the car is stopped. So we want it to be the camera position plus camera distance minus, and instead of camera speed, or instead of this whole thing, I guess, we want it to be centered on Blizzard's Y. Wait a second. That. There you go. This is not going to work. Okay. So camera Y position should be remainder of Blizzard's Y. You know what? I think the camera Y position should just always be Blizzard's Y. Is that right?
Yeah. Why is that not?
The reason it's off is because we're adding half the screen height.
Yeah.
So I think we want to do Blizzard's Y minus half the screen height. So let me duplicate this. I'll get a math.
Question: would it be easier just to move the center camera at into the if car is stopped, and then we can just do the camera follow? If the car is not stopped, then you based off of that, and then we wouldn't have to fight with it.
Yes, that's true.
Whatever is easiest.
I'm just going to keep going with this for now. All right. So the other thing we want to do is we want to make it so that
it's so cool.
Oh, man.
You can just copy it.
Road trip with friends.
best friend is yourself.
Game about making friends.
I mean, we never said there was only one Blizzard in the car.
But each one has an extra Z to their name.
Okay. So what we want to do is we're going to do some things based off of Blizzard's location. So let's go ahead and drag out this comparison block. And what I'm going to do is there's going to be two cases here. One is going to be if Blizzard is Y is less than screen.height divided by 2, because that's where our boxing starts. And if that's the case, we want to move Blizzard Y to be above, so that they're looping back around. So let's go ahead and get this. I'm going to do if Blizzard's Y is less than or equal to screen height divided by 2, then what we want to do is add the camera distance to their Y. I think that should work. Let's get a change by. Cool. So now let's do it in the opposite direction. So if Blizzard Y is greater than or equal to screen height divided by 2 plus the camera distance, then we want to change Blizzard's Y by the negative camera distance. Cool. All right. And I think I am going to do what Joy was talking about. So I'm going to have my auto scroll camera inside of this if not car is stopped. But otherwise, because I'm already handling this behavior of transporting Blizzard, I can just do the camera follow. So I'm going to go ahead and drag out a camera follow. And we're going to set it to be Blizzard. And I'm just going to do it in here because, well, actually, I should probably just do it where Blizzard gets created. There we go. Cool. Still a little weird that your car disappears.
Mm-hmm.
But we can fix that in a dumb way. And the dumb way we're going to fix that is we're going to create a fake pink car, which is going to use the same image as the real pink car. But their position is going to be the pink car X plus, no, we want it to just be the pink car X. And the Y is going to be the pink car Y plus camera distance. And we're going to have to do this in both directions. So we're going to create 2 fake pink cars. This, by the way, as you might have heard me say, is a dumb way to solve this issue. But it's a way that works. And video games are filled with little hacks like this. In fact, I think Super Mario 64 had like multiple versions of the tile map in different directions.
That makes sense, maybe.
Oh, looks like the X is wrong. Oh, I'm setting Blizzard's position. Yeah, that's not going to work. Oh, I did the wrong one. Oh, yeah, I need to make 2. So let me go ahead and make another fake pink car. And we're going to set this one to be minus. Wait. Should be, I got to switch this around. The pink car Y minus the camera distance. All right. Now when I go up, there's my car. And you saw I could go around it. And it works in both directions. Whoa, why are there 2 blizzards? Did I accidentally press A twice?
What? Huh.
You must have hit A, right? Like, it would.
Maybe we should just wrap it in the car is not stopped.
Yeah, let me go ahead and do that right now. So just to make this not happen anymore, we're going to go ahead and do this, and we're going to do a not, and we're going to do if not, car is stopped. I always get it wrong. It's always like, I know it's either control or option, and I always choose the wrong one. All right, cool. Now I can no longer create buddies.
Not a Game Boy friendship anymore.
Which is sad. But cool. I'm in this like weird time loop, spatial loop thing. Which is pretty cool. All right, now let's go and make it so that we can get back into the car. So when we get back into the car, we need to do a few things. We need to destroy Blizzard. We need to change this to be true. And we need to get rid of this move. We need to make it so we can move the pink car again. So I think what I'm going to do is make a function. No, I don't really need to. I'm going to go into scene, and I'm going to drag out an on tile, or no, actually I want an on sprite overlap. So. And now I'm going to go ahead and change some of these kinds. So right now, everything is the same kind. It's player. But I want to make some new ones. So this one is going to be car. I'm going to leave Blizzard as player because he's one of a kind. And for the fake pink car, I'm going to make a new kind that is a fake car.
They probably need to be the same, right? Because you want that to be able to overlap with either of them and get in.
They'll teleport back around if they go to the other one, right?
But like the reason we need to is because it exists in two positions at once. So if you teleport around it,
you'll never be able to reach the fake one because it's outside the bounds.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah. Fancy.
Okay. So we've made both of these fake cars. On sprite of kind player overlaps other sprite of kind car. We want to first destroy the player.
Sad.
Don't worry, you can come back. So we're going to destroy Blizzard. We're going to set car is stopped to be false. We're going to move the pink car with buttons, get rid of this minus so that it starts moving again. Oh, sorry, wait. We want to do VX 100 and VY 0. And then we want to destroy the fake pink cars. So we're going to drag out a for each, go into arrays, get this sprite list block. For element value, array of sprites of kind, fake car. And we want to destroy value. Is that everything? I think so.
Yes.
All right, so now I can walk around, walk up to the car, and I get back in. And I can get out again.
I do
Exciting
like
game.
the time loop vibe of this.
All right, so one thing I'm noticing is that Blizzard moves faster than the car. So let's go ahead and change this camera speed to be like, I don't know, 3? There we go.
Speedy.
That's faster.
Nice.
All right. So I think what we want to do is we want to make it so that you run out of fuel, and then you need to walk around and we'll spawn a fuel can somewhere. Does that sound good? It'll be a pretty simple game. All you're going to do is pick up the fuel, go back to your car, and then you'll start moving again. So I'm going to create a variable, and it's going to be called got fuel. And we need to go ahead and make it so that periodically we the car runs out of fuel. And to do that, I'm just going to use an on-game update interval. So let's go ahead and get this. We only want this to run if the car is not stopped. But we don't want this to run. We kind of want to, I think, decrement a value or something to make sure that we don't run this. What am I trying to say? You only want it to.
You don't want to
go
run
ahead.
out right away when you right after you get fuel before you get back in the car. Or right after you get in the car, you don't want it to run.
Yeah.
Maybe a forever
So
loop
I'm
might be
gonna
easier?
create a thing called fuel time that it lasts.
Yes.
And let's go ahead and set this. And we're going to set fuel time that it lasts to be I don't know, 20 seconds. So you get some peaceful time driving. But for testing, I'm going to make it 5 seconds, and then I'll go and change it back. And we're going to create another variable, which is time that the fuel has been going now. And by default, we'll set the time that the fuel has been going now to 0. These are the only dumb named variables I'm going to do, by the way. The rest will be fine.
I feel like we should make some code poetry.
Okay, so we want to change this value. So I'm going to go ahead and drag out a change. And because our interval is 500 milliseconds, I'm going to make this 100 milliseconds, and I'm going to change it by 100. So this isn't a perfect timer, but it'll work pretty well. And we want to do a comparison here and say, if the time is greater than, it's a change. If time that fuel has been going now is greater than or equal to time, wait, what's the other one? Fuel time that lasts. Then we want to set it to be 0.
This is code poetry, I'm pretty sure.
And I'm going to get rid of this if A button pressed, and I'm going to put it inside of here.
So you get like ejected from your car when the fuel runs out.
Yeah, and I'll make Blizzard say something.
Next week we should do one where every variable we make has to rhyme, at least a slant rhyme with the previous variable.
I like that.
What a challenge.
Okay, Blizzard's going to say...
A challenge that Vivian is definitely going to win.
I'm so excited about it.
And then we also want to create a fuel can and place it on a random tile. So I'm going to set that variable I created, got fuel, and we're going to set it to be false. And in this overlaps code, we only want it to run when we have gotten the fuel. So I'm going to wrap it inside of a got fuel. Check. All right. Now we're running out of time here, so start coming up with names, but we're pretty close to being done.
I feel like it has to do something with like the temperature and the juxtaposition between the cold, cool player versus the hot, dry desert.
Can that all be the name?
I think we got to stop doing the names that are super long. We have a tendency, guys, to do that.
Road?
Wait, what did you say? I tried to parse it, but it didn't make sense in my head.
MakeCode cold road? Or road trip?
MakeCode
cold
road trip. Maybe he's like getting lost in the desert.
This is not a very good fuel can.
It's immediately identifiable.
On one end, right? Yes.
Yeah, that's fuel.
Or what does the GPS say when you get lost? And it's like
recalculating?
recalculate.
Is that when
You're not lost though.
It's just upset with you. It's like.
But aren't we a bit confused because we're going up and we see the car again? We're like, what? I thought it was just here.
I guess that's true.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go ahead and place this on a random dirt tile. So I'm going to go into scene.
Are you going to have to do the big thing again for this?
Do we need to change the tile map? Because is it possible to put fuel on a tile we can't reach?
Yes, it's possible to put it on the sides, and it's possible to put it on the top and bottom. You can just keep replacing it until it's reachable. Oh wait, no, you can see on the sides. So
yeah, the sides are fine. It's just the top and bottom. So yeah, I'm just gonna do our fun trick. Where I got a while. And I'm going to compare the fuel can Y.
I do agree that this is like poetry, right? Because we have the confusion of needing fuel on a road trip echoed in the code. We don't know what we're doing. We just need to make it work. Get back on the road.
Get Back on the Road is an okay game name.
Oh, I like that. That's
Yeah,
good.
That's pretty good.
All right, let's go ahead and do outros. Hopefully, I'll finish this before Jacqueline starts streaming.
Oh, the stream's out too. Yeah. Oh, I guess it. Did you want to go first, Richard?
You want to do it? Okay.
I'm Richard.
I'm Joey at J Wonder on the forum.
I'm Shannon at Shakao on the forum.
And I'm Vivian at Live Cheerful on the forum. I was really excited for all of us to do Richard impersonations.
Oh, that's
It was the best. Richard wouldn't even have to do it. He is a multitasking person.
Mhm.
Can't handle this.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess I'll turn it
We
off.
have time. We have a little bit of time.
Yeah, we can just wait.
Yeah,
for
we got a
Richard
little
to
bit of
finish.
time.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do it. I'm on track to do it. So give me a second.
You're a speedy car. You're a speedy coder. Can do it.
That speedy car is on track. I feel like this is gonna be a very upsetting game though, because like half the time it will be 20 tiles away and you'll have no idea where it is.
That's the idea, though. You wander around until you find it. On sprite of kind player overlaps other sprite of kind. Fuel can. Want to destroy other sprite and set got fuel.
I do always love it when we get to the end and we get the very zoomed out code because we're trying to finish.
All right. Let's go.
Okay.
I think this works.
Oh no.
Oh no! I made an infinite loop. While fuel can Y is less than screen width divided by 2, or fuel can Y is greater than camera distance divided by every time.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
This is giant map that we've created. Oh,
Nice.
There we go. Got it.
Back
Yay,
on
back on
the
the
road.
road. Yeah. All right, we did it. All right. See you guys.
Okay, bye. Have a good stream, Jacqueline.